So yeah, basically today we are going to be going in more on UI UX. So last class we just introduced it, we talked about what UI UX is, um, the importance of UI UX in any project development. We also talked about the difference between UI and UX, although they actually overlap each other. Then I asked us to go and create accounts with two platforms. Although I said I was going to post the link in the group chat, but I think I ended up forgetting. Um so now I don't know if we actually remember to create those accounts or not. I don't know. Did we create our accounts on Figma and Behance? Not like we necessarily use it now, but after this class I'll basically need us to go back and practice some of the things we'll do today on Figma. So in case we did not create the account, this is just a reminder that we should try and create accounts with Figma. So today we'll be going into Figma. Specifically, I'll be teaching us how to use Figma, all of the components of Figma, before we now go into actual process of UI and UX. Before that, there's something called UX laws. Some laws that we need to know and follow. When you are designing any application or any prototype, you need to follow some set of rules and laws. Not like they are. Hello, please, sorry about that. So as I was saying, there are some certain rules. We are recommended to follow while designing any application. So I think, let me just share my screen. I need to display some things for us so that we'll understand or we see what exactly I'm doing. Okay, so is my screen visible? Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, so this is basically just to write out what I want to say. So we'll just briefly go through this UI UX laws. You don't have to cram them, you don't have to necessarily learn them, but just have them in mind that okay, these are what we should follow. So these laws are basically collection of best practices that designers can consider when building user interfaces. So first of all, there's something called um, aesthetic usability effect. So there is this thing about creating aesthetic designs, making designs pleasing to the users. So when you are designing a prototype for a particular application, please, Chineke, please mute yourself. Please, your mic is on. Okay, so as I was saying, we have this aesthetic usability effect, which basically is for us to make the whole design visually enticing to the users. We have something else called the Doherty threshold. So basically, I don't want to start going into all of these things because they are, how will I put it, they are theoretical, and I'll just post it on the link for us to, or I'll post it on the channel for us to just go and look through it ourselves. So that is not what I specifically plan to come and discuss today. So now I'm going to go into Figma.com. I'm going to start by creating a Figma account, because what I showed you guys in the last class was my own personal Figma account. So I'm going to create a Figma account with our Devcamp this thing. So I'm going to click the sign up. So just in case you have any issues when you are signing up, you can also come back to this video to set your own account up. So once I'm logging in through my Google browser, I just usually make use of continue with Google. So I just sign up with Google, authenticate it. So they'll ask us a few questions.
Okay.
Moses,
I can start now,
you are supposed to be in the front end track. Check the channels. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Moses? Okay, please, sorry about that. I think that was a misunderstanding there for the guy. So they'll ask you a few questions. Tell us about yourself, Devcamp, what do you do? So let me just put in design here. How will you primarily use Figma for teaching and taking classes? So I just click the create account. Okay, so let's give it a few minutes to load up. And yeah, basically that is all you need to create an account. I made use of continue with Google and I answered those few questions. Okay, so now we have our first page. Welcome to, let's try this. I'll do this later so as not to waste too much time in setting up. I'll select this free plan and design. So this is because I'm opening the account for the first time, so they'll basically just ask to help me set up my first design for me. So this is basically them asking me to select the template I want to start with. If it's a mobile design I want to make, or a desktop design I want to make, or they also have other templates that I can make use of to design what I want to design. So I'm just going to click, I'll do this myself so that I'll show us how to start up designing by ourselves. So yeah, so this is the our Figma page. So this is our Figma page. Let me open up one thing they've already done. So there's difference between wireframing and prototyping. As you can see, this one has wireframing in Figma. We also have prototyping in Figma. So coming back to my my notepad, in designing interfaces there are actually four main steps in designing interfaces. Sorry about that. One, we have the research. Basically this is us researching about the application, the type of application we want to design, what the application is meant to do, and how to make it easy for users to navigate. Secondly, we have sketching. This basically is like us creating a rough sketch of the design. This is where we make use of pen and paper. Let me use pencil and paper, because basically you have to design the rough interface of what you want to design on pen and paper first, so that you have a visual idea of what you are doing. Then after the rough sketch, the next thing we have is wireframing. So wireframing can be done on Figma, which is translating your raw sketch into an actual digital skeleton of the application or the design you want to make. And after wireframing, we have what we call prototyping. So prototyping is basically the visual design with everything in place. So wireframing is like, okay, the skeletal design, but there are no pictures, no images, none of those things, just basic skeleton of what you want to design. But when you come down to prototyping is now when you start adding those color combinations, images, making the whole thing full-fledged. You get. So that is the difference between wireframing and prototyping. So as I say, there are basically 4 steps, but I would like to add one more. I'll not add it to the main 4, but this is the testing. So after designing down to your prototype, you now have to give it out for people to test it. So gone are the days when front-end developers will have to convert your design into a prototype for users to be able to interact with it. Nowadays, directly on Figma, you can create a prototype. Directly on Figma, you can create wireframe. So you can basically do all of these things on Figma. So yeah, the wireframe has opened up here. So I'll show us. Okay, first I'm going to start with, I've already explained what research is, I've explained what sketching is. So now this is what the wireframe looks like. So this is basically what the wireframe looks like. If you see here, there are no pictures, no images, no color combination, just basic structure and text. So as you can see here, we have this is just sample wireframe that Figma has given to us. So you just see this big section here. This is basically to tell us that, okay, so I want a video to be here and just a simple text and button here. Then if you now come under here, you will now see this section that has a simple text, this, all of this. So as we see, this is simple plain text. All these boxes is what they use to represent images and just simple text, but this is what we call wireframing. Then after wireframing, we now have the prototyping, where they now start adding their pictures, their images, and their color combinations. So let me open up Figma again on a new page, so that I will open up that prototyping page also. So it's good that when you sign up to Figma newly, they will show you a simple or a sample wireframe and a sample prototype for us to know the difference between a wireframe and a prototype. So let the page open up, and okay, yeah, I think it's open now. So yeah, I opened up wireframing, which is this. Now let me open up prototyping so that I would see the actual difference between the two, both of them. Okay, so yeah, this is what we call a prototype. So this exactly does not translate what was here or what is here, but at least it gives us a small understanding of what a prototype is. So as you can see here, the prototype basically has the images, how you want it to look exactly, with the color or the exact type of color you want it to display and all of those things. So I don't know if we understand the difference between a wireframe and a prototype. So do we have any questions between the difference between wireframing and prototyping? Anybody? Is the difference between wireframing and prototyping clear? Hello? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You opened a new tab for this a new Figma for the prototype. Is that how we're going to do it? Do we have to open a new tab for wireframe and a new tab for prototyping?
No, you don't. You don't have to. It's just because I wanted to show us the two of them, at the same time while talking. But you can use one tab to create both your wireframes and your prototype. So you don't have to. But the difference is clever
Yes, it is.
right now. So yeah, that is basically the difference between both of them so far. So now the next thing we are going to do is like um, go through a simple go through a simple process go through a simple these 4 steps I've created here. We are just going to basically go through 4 of them, but we'll choose a type of application that we want to build, or a design we want to build, and we'll go through the 4 steps here. So any does anybody have any suggestion? If not, I can just go on with any design I have. So suggestion I mean is there any type of application you want us to use and test these 4 steps here and see how they work? So it's going to be a very simple and straightforward design concept so that we understand what to research, sketching, wireframing, and prototype. How 4 of them work one step after the other. So does anybody have any suggestion? I can just go on with any design. Um okay, so I'll take that as a no. So I'm just going to go on with creating a very simple design. So take for example, we want to try and replicate what I know. I just want to assume that most of us know piggy vest. I don't know how many of us use piggyvest. Okay, let me use something very popular that all of us know. Chat systems. We know WhatsApp, we know Telegram. Yeah, so we are just going to go through the thought process of designing a chat, it's a very simple chat system. So first of all, we need to do research. So first of all, we need to do research. So this research means basically trying to understand what the system we are trying to design, what it is. So here we are trying to design, or we are going to try and design a chat system. So first of all, you know that basically what the chat system is for users to get on the chat app and chat with other people. So now it is your job as a UI UX designer to take the users through this process. So if we look at the way WhatsApp is, once you just open up your WhatsApp, you necessarily don't have to log in. So you just open up your WhatsApp and they will ask you for that. Guys, if you did that 2-factor authentication, they will ask you for that, your password, and you put it in. But aside that, you don't have to log in into WhatsApp to make use of WhatsApp. You get, and but there are chat systems that you will actually have to log in to get into. So all of these things is what you have to ask. So before you start designing all of these things, you have to ask questions. You ask questions like, okay, will they have to log in? If they log in, will they have to verify email? So all these questions are necessary because you have to create screens and progressive screens for all of these processes. So you have to understand what the user will have to do first, where the user will go after, where the user will go after that. So this is basically, it's good to understand all of this. That is where all of this research goes in, so that you know what screen to create after the other. So let me just open up a new design file here, so that we'll go through all of this process I'm talking about now. So yeah, as I said, we want to use a chat system as our case study today. So yeah, aside asking those questions, to make our research work easier, it's also good to go around and look at various other chat systems to understand how these people did their own, or how their own works. So basically, most of the two major chat systems we have are WhatsApp and Telegram. And if we noticed, the design of WhatsApp is not exactly the same with the design of Telegram. The way their chat box is not the same with the way WhatsApp chat box is, that kind of thing. And the way the screens that WhatsApp has is not the same with the screens that Telegram have. But we can just combine the idea in both and design our own. So first of all, let's say we don't how will I put it? First of all, say our users will just have to log in first, then access their their chats. So first of all, we'll come here. I came to this part. This is our frame. So this frame is basically to tell us the type of application that we want to design. If we are designing for mobile, we are designing for tablets, or we are designing for desktop. So for the purpose of this case study, we are going to be designing for mobile. So let me just select one of these. So I click that and we have our basic frame. So let me call this screen 1. So as I mentioned, let's say we've done our research now. We've looked at how WhatsApp is, we've looked at how Telegram is, and we know that okay, we need simple screens like our splash screen, which is the first screen they see when they log in, then that chat screen. So since we have that, the next step is actually to sketch it down, or to sketch it down on paper. So basically now I don't have a pen and paper to actually sketch this down, so I'm going to like skip the sketching stage, but at least we understand what sketching means. Just draw a simple basic structure of how you want it to look. So I'm now going to go straight into the prototyping aspect. So now when we come to prototyping, wireframing first before prototyping. Wireframing is just the skeletal view of the system. So now we have our very first screen. The first thing I want to create is our splash screen. Splash screen basically is that first screen that pops up when you open any mobile app, because most times when you open a mobile app, you don't immediately see what is inside the app. You just like for WhatsApp now, when you open up WhatsApp, you see that WhatsApp icon before WhatsApp actually opens up. So majority of mobile apps make use of that splash screen. It is called a splash screen. So it does not have a button to say continue or anything. It just shows up for some time and your application loads up. So I'm going to create a flash screen. As you can see, I selected text here. So this is used to type or place text components on your screen. So I'm going to put this, drag it here, and write splash screen. So as it looks now, it does not look fine or anything. So I'm just going to select this, come over here. This is where we can edit what this looks like. So I want to make this bold. So I select this, come to this place. You see where you can select how bold it is. Then come here, we'll see the text color we want to add to it. So I want to make this up to like 50. Let me reduce it to 40 because I want to kind of make it span the whole page. So let me just expand this and expand this. So we have our splash screen here. The next I want to like put a very simple basic image here. So let me select the circle icon. So I'll just draw this here. So if we notice, the circle is not exactly a circle because the height and the width is meant to be the same. So when you select a component, you can come here. If you come to this right part, you'll see x, y. So this x basically means the position left, from left to right. So if we if we reduce or increase this thing, it will move the position left to right. So what I'm doing here is I'll just come here, hold my mouse, move it right or move it left. So X is the position left to right, Y is the position up to down. So if we do the same thing, it will move it up to down. But the main reason I came here is to increase the width. This is width. I want to make it 200 pixels, and I want to also make the height 200 pixels, so it is a perfect circle. So yeah, we have this text here, we have this text here. The next thing I want to put is like a text that says loading here. So let me select text, come over here, and I'm just going to type loading ... So I need to reduce the font here, so let me make it 20. Let me center this. I don't want it to be bold anymore because it's supposed to be like a tiny stuff. So, and I also want to make it italic. So let me see where I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to come here and make it italic, italic. Yeah. So yeah, we've created a very simple wireframe of our first page. So there is no picture, there is no special coloring. This is just very basic. So this is to give us a simple idea of how we want this application to look. So what this means here is, okay, we'll have like a text here. This text will be like the name of the application. This image now will be like the icon of our application, and this loading is just will just be a simple loading page that will show up before the main page. So now we are now going to create our second screen. So we can either choose, come over here, click frame and select our screen again, or we can just come here, select this copy, which is Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and paste it again, so we can have the same screen again. So we just delete what is here. So we just delete what is there. So the next screen I want to create now is, okay, this is our screen one. Sorry, once our users open the this our chat application up, they will see the splash screen. So immediately the splash screen finishes loading, I now want them to see our chat page mainly. So if we notice, the chat page first of all has a list of all our chats. First of all, has a list of all our chats, but this is where thinking actually comes in again. For WhatsApp, when you open WhatsApp newly and you don't have any chats at all, nothing shows up in that your list of chats. So how exactly would you want that page to show? So you also have to consider, okay, what happens if there are no lists of chats to show up first of all. So let's not say the way we are going to handle that is to now show up a single text. So let me just select text here and say start a new chat or something. Then we'll now have a very simple button here. Let me select this box to create a button. Now I have a very simple button here. Okay, so let me try and make sure this is in the middle, and this also. Okay, so I can now select text again and place it over this box and say start. Sorry, I did not do this well, so let me stretch it over a bit. Yeah, so I don't want this to also be italic, so I'm just going to go back and make it regular, and Yeah, I think this is fine. So let me shift this up a bit using Y, bring it here. So the next now to do is, if you know the way our button designs usually are, they usually curve a bit. So I'm just going to bend this a little bit. So basically what this means is, when the user comes in for the first time and there are no charts, the user can just click this button here to start a new chart and all. So again, I'm just going to create one more screen. What this screen will basically be is just our simple what our simple chart list will be like. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to use the concept of WhatsApp basically here. So create a simple box here. Let me select the circle, put this here. This is basically going to be profile image or something. Put 50, height 50. Then, so that the color does not get missing, the icon does not get missing, I'm going to make this white. Let me move this thing up a bit. Okay, so we have this. Then let me select text and add text here. Let me just type in a random thing here. I'll put this here. Then you can now have that the last message the person sent here or something. So let me just write a random text here. So as we notice, the messages here are usually just tiny or small, they are not always big. So I'm just going to reduce the font size, let's say 14, and leave it here. Then lastly, we have the time here. The time usually stays here. So let's say 3:45 p.m. So I'm just going to move this a bit to this side and leave it. So now we have how one chart list is supposed to look, but then you can have multiple on the page. So you just have to what we can do here is to reuse this. We can just select everything here, right click, and there is something called group selection. So once we click group selection, everything here now becomes a group, so we can carry everything together as a group. So why I did this is so that we can reuse this. So I select the group, copy, paste. So it has pasted. I come and put it under here. I'll paste again, put it under here, paste again, put it under here. So basically this is how the basic simple chart list is going to look. Then what if you want to start a new chart? WhatsApp usually has that sign here, but let's just say for the sake of this tutorial, we want our own to be here in the middle. So let me make the width here 50 and this 50. I think 50 is too small. Let me make it 70 and align it to the middle. So yeah, let's say this is going to be our new chart button. So let's say you already have chart lists here and you want to start a new chart. You can just click here and to open up your contact list to select a new chart or something. So there is also group feature. Let's say you want to create group, you want to do all of those things. That is all what you have to consider, and you also have to design your app in a way that users will not be confused on how to do these things. So let's say users enter your page now, want to start a new chart. They will not start looking for how do I start a new chart and all. You can just put it here, make it big and visible, and so that once they come here, they'll know that okay, this button here is meant to start a new chart. So basically this is what basically this is what a prototype means. It's just basic skeleton. Sorry, a wireframe means, like always I keep misplacing them. So this is basically what a wireframe is. Just simple skeletal design, no colors, no images, no nothing. So you have to first do your wireframe to have an idea of how you want the structure to be before you now go into prototyping and making it exactly look exactly how you want it to look by adding specific color combinations, um, typography, type, fonts, and all these things. So as a UI UX designer, we need to actually pay attention to color combinations. Color combination is one thing that we need to pay very much attention to. You would think that the color of your application does not actually matter, but it does. You get, there are how do they put it? They say there are colors that actually light up people's mood. All those things they say. There are colors that look bright, exciting, and all of those things. And also, depending on the kind of application you are building, there are the type of colors we use. So for instance, now if you are building a crypto application, go on to any crypto app or any crypto websites, you always see darkish color combinations. You cannot come and be seeing orange or pink on a crypto site. You see, so these color combinations are actually very important. There are size color combinations. We have typography. Typography means fonts, the type of font you want to use for your application that you are designing. So you cannot just use any font. As you can see, this font does not actually look appeasing. So we need to understand the type of font we want to use. We also need to understand how the sizes of the different text on our page will look. You get. And so another thing with prototyping is now the interaction. So on Figma here, you can actually, after designing it, now start connecting the screens together, in the sense that once you click something on one screen, it will take you to the next screen you're supposed it will take you to the next screen that you're supposed to be on. So yeah, so far so good. This is what prototyping, and this is what wireframing is. Then next I'm going to go into prototyping, but that won't be today. So today I'm just going to like take us more on a tour around Figma. So before I go on, does anybody have any questions from what I've said so far? Any questions? Hello? Does anybody have any question? What is on my screen? Okay, so I'll take that as a no. So I think nobody has any questions. So yeah, basically this is it for wireframing. So I'm just going to go ahead and give us a little like a general tour of the whole system. So first of all, looking at Figma as a whole, it looks pretty basic, but you can do a whole lot of things on Figma here. So first of all, we have our Figma menu. You can go back to our files. You can open up a new file, a new design, or a new sketch file. We have all these other things which I'm not going to go into now. We also have plugins and integrations that we can add to our Figma. So on Figma too, Figma has a community, so you can also copy other people's ideas, see other people's work, and also use it to edit your own and all. So here, this second icon here is basically our touch icon. So is either we are making use of one of these things. So if I click here, it means I'm on frame mode. If I click here, it means I'm on select mode. I can pointer select anything on the screen. So that is basically what this is. This is our frame. Once you click this, you can select the type of frame you want to, or the type of screen you want to design, or you want to design for. So as I said, we already have the mobile screens, we have the tablet screens, we have the desktop screens. You can also create social media images here. So Figma has already made all of those things available to us. So coming here, we now have our shapes. So if I click here and click the drop down here, presently the last shape I selected was the ellipse shape. That's why it's showing ellipse here. But this is basically all of the shapes we have in Figma. You might be asking, what person want to do with all these shapes here? But basically these are all the shapes you would need in designing anything you want to design. So we have the rectangular, the straight line shape, the arrow, the ellipse, polygon, star, and we also have images. So yeah, when we start importing images to our Figma designs, that's when we'll make use of these image styles. But for now, all of these shapes are here, and I'll also show us how we can manipulate these shapes into anything we actually want to want it to look like. So yes, these shapes provided here are enough to design anything you want to design on Figma. Next we have, sorry, just delete that. Next we have this drawing tool. So it's basically a pen and a pencil. You can just select it and draw anything you want to draw. So yeah, I totally forgot about this. We would have basically used this as our sketching part. We'll just draw simple, draw our screens first to understand how we want it to look. But it's actually hard to draw on on screen. It's easier to do it with pen and paper. Our sketching process. So as a UI UX designer, you need to have a sketch pad. Even if you don't have a sketch pad, you need to have like a book for all your design sketches and all. So that is it for this. We now have this part here, which is our text area. So selecting this means you are coming to place a text on the screen. So just select the space, type in your text, and you have the text on the screen. So this here is basically just to comment. Let's say you want to add the comment to a particular place on the page. Let's say when you're working in group, and you are like multiple people working on one design, you can always come and make a comment so that the next person will see what you are doing. So moving on, in our future classes, all of us might have to work on the same page. So multiple people can actually work on the same file, and you'll see all of them here, and you'll basically be seeing everybody's screen or everybody's cursor moving around on the screen. But when we move ahead in the course, we will see all of those things. Then we have the hand tool here. So basically this is just to move the screen. So if we don't know how to move the screen with our mouse normally, then the hand tool might be easier for us starting. So we can move the screen anywhere we want, and looking at this whole page, it is as wide as anything you can imagine to create any amount of screens you want to create. So if I zoom out on this, we have the whole page to create as many screens as possible we want to create. So there's nothing like space go finish. Space can literally not finish on our Figma design screen. So yeah, I'm going to zoom in back. That is it for all of these screens here. Then here we have our file name. So I'm just going to name this Devcamp wireframe. This is basically where our name is. This is our profile, where everyone's profile that is working on the file will show. This button is basically just to share it with other people you want to design your work with. Then this place sign or this present sign is when we finish creating our prototype and we want to view it, then we click this. So let me just click this to demonstrate to us how this works. So as we can see, this is what that present does. So you can now share this link to someone and tell the person, Alpha, look, test out my design prototype I just did. So because we selected iPhone X or something as our prototype, our screen prototype, it uses that this thing to like display it for us. So again, this is what I clicked this play button and it plays it for us. So yeah, this is it. This is our first splash screen. This is just the wireframe. When we start working on the prototype, all of this thing will look finer. So this is our splash screen. We just click the right arrow. I would see our first screen to start a new chart. So when the person clicks start a new chart, it opens up this chart screen. So this is our charts, all our chart lists. Then this is like button to start another new chart and add to this. So this is basically our present screen for prototype, and up here we'll see something called share prototype. So you can use this to copy the link and share to people to test out the design you just did. So how does my design look and all those things. So basically this is how we can run our prototype and see what it actually looks like on the screen. So this thing is going to show depending on the screen type or screen frame that you selected. So yeah, that is basically it. Then next we have is our screen, the whole screen size. So we can come here to zoom in, come here to zoom out, but I have my own shortcut of doing that. I just use two fingers to pinch my screen or zoom out, just the way we zoom something in and out on our phone. That is basically what I do on my touchpad to zoom most of these things. Then by the left side here, this is what shows us every single component we have on our design page. So as you can see, we have 3 frames here, 1 screen, 2, 3, although all of them have the same names, but let me just rename them. Renaming them, you can either rename them here on this page, just right click on it and go to rename, but it's easier to just come to the screen directly. Sorry, let me go back to select pointer, select this, double click on it, and let me make this splash screen. It's good to name your screens what they are, so that any other person that is working with you would understand. So let me name this empty chart screen. That is when you don't have any previous charts. Then let me name this chart list screen. So yeah, so when we come here, we have all of our frames here, or our screens basically. So if I open up the chart list screen, we'll see all of the components that we have inside the chart list screen. So as I'm inside this chart list screen now, let us look at our chart list here. So as I hover over these things, we'll see all of them like highlighting on the chart screen. So if I select this ellipse here, this is basically this here. If I select this group here, if you remember, I made all of these things into a group. That's why they are showing as a group. Then we have this inner group, we have this text that shows 345. I have this random text, this gender text, this ellipse text, and all of those things. So this when we come to the empty chart screen, we'll see what we have inside this empty chart screen, which is our text here, our rectangle. Our text is inside our rectangle, as you can see. Then we have this our start new charts. Then under our splash screen, we have 3 components here, which is the loading text, the ellipse text, and the splash screen text. So this basically helps us to select components. So when we come here, it helps us locate and select components. So we can also do further editing or add further functionalities to most of all these components. So for example, let me click this circle here, and as you can see, if you come to the right side here, we'll see 3 things here: design, prototype, and inspect. So this design here is basically what we use to add all of our design effects to this particular component. So I explained what these ones here are. This is like the positioning left to right of the screen. This is the positioning top to bottom of the screen. This is the width of the actual element. This is the height of the actual element. Then this is like the curve, but it's basically not going to make any effect because it's a circle. You get. So let me just leave it as 0 back. So all of this is necessarily not that important now. Then we have background color. We can change the background color of this here, and so let me select it again. Then we can see other effects like the export and the stroke effect. You can add borders around it. You have more effects here. Let's say we want to add a shadow. So as you can see now, there's a shadow under this. So basically this is just like an intro, like general overview of our Figma tool, so that we can, I'll still say, we go back and try our hands, play around Figma, so that we get a hang of what Figma is about. Then if we come into prototype, this prototype basically is interaction, or what it means is how we interact with our pages. So let me select this start now. Since I'm in prototype, if I select this start now, you'll see this plus sign. So if I just drag this to this page, what it means is I've created an interaction in this app under this prototype. So basically it means if a user clicks start, it takes the person to this page. So let me refresh this our presentation screen. Okay, I'm mindful that it's already 9, so we are going to round up now. Okay, so if you notice, the effect we did is already showing here. So let me come here. So notice that once I click this start, it now opens up this page for me. You can also add what do they call it? You can also add how we want it to move, animation. So let me just put in smart animation here, come back here, then we'll see how it will work. So if I click start, we'll see that the thing fades in, comes in. So this is basically how prototyping works. So you design your app and now make interactions from one screen to another, and if somebody is using it, the person will not even know the difference between an actual simple design and an actual application, because as you can see, clicking start just shows up the next page for us, although all of these things are static. So we can also add interaction to this list, so that when somebody clicks this, it will now open up a chat page for that particular person. So that is another screen you will have to create. So this is basically all that I have for today. Does anybody have any questions? If there are no questions, we just call it a day till Monday. Any questions? Anybody? Does anybody have any question? I can hear you. Your voice is cracking. Oh.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you now. It's clear now.
Okay, I said for this splash screen is created.
Yes.
You use
Yes.
iPhone screen.
Do we?
Hello.
Yeah, you said for the splash screen. What
You
happened?
use iPhone screen.
Yes, I
You
use iPhone screen
screen.
for all of them. Yes, I use iPhone screen for all of them. But you can decide to choose any screen you want. You
I
see?
wanted to know if this if this screen is iPhone is iPhone.
Okay, it's just a design. We are using iPhone screen just to design it, but it does not necessarily mean that it's only for iPhone. You get? We are just using iPhone screen to design. I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, because basically, if we come over to phones, okay, we have iPhone, then we have Android small and Android large. Okay, let me see how what Android small looks like. Let me see what Android large looks like. So basically, you can make use of any of these screens. They don't matter. It's just it's basically just how we want it to display or how we want to create the prototype for our users. You get? It's not like it must run only on that screen that you are creating it for. It will show the same way for, when people, the designers or the developers are now writing the code, they will write the code for it to show that way on both Android and iPhone. So your own work is to just design it. You can use any screen you want to use to design it. Does that make sense? All right. Does anybody have any other question before I continue? Nello, you just are completely quiet today. No normal. You understand everything I talk.
Yes, yes, sorry.
So, alright now, no problem. So, well, basically, we are just three here. IB, is everything understood? If you are here, please say something. Hello, IB. If you are here, please say something.
I'm here.
You understand?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much too for saying something. Okay, so I think basically that is all for today. In our next class, we'll actually now make the prototyping for this the prototype for these screens we've created, and we'll add interactions to them. You get? So our next class, which is on Monday, then from Wednesday we'll not start designing an actual project, because the idea is, after learning, we'll now go into designing our own projects and working with other tracks here. So how it will work is, as UI UX designers, you create the design, front-end developers will write the code for the design, then back-end developers will like implement the back-end for it. So every single person on this bootcamp is going to work together to a develop a system that will work, starting from the designing to the deployment. And the system we have in mind to build is a social networking application, just like Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, where you can follow people, post content and all of those things. So we are going to see the whole process of project development from the bottom, from designing down to deployment, and we are going to have this application live for people to use. And yes, you can go out and say, yes, this is my work. So that is the whole essence of this bootcamp. I hope you continue. I know it's tiring, it's not easy to keep up with, learning and all. So I'll advise us to keep coming, because there are a lot of exciting things ahead. You get? So in absence of any other questions, um yeah.
When you have access to the digital community, that's where you can get inspiration, other variants, how do you actually bring down your standard so as to be able to work with you? How do you copy back to your own standard if you have actually made a decision of this particular situation?
I did not hear everything you said. The only part I heard was assessing Figma community. I did not hear what you said after that. So
I said after I've made a selection of what I want to copy from the blog, designer actually discovered the Figma community? How will I copy down my own Canvas, my own Figma?
So are you asking how you can put your own work on the community, or how you can see another person's work?
How like how I can copy the person's work down to my Canvas so I the work
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. So I'm opening up our Figma homepage again, so that I'll just show us how we can go into um the community. So when we come here, by this side of the screen, if you can see my mouse, we have explore community. If you can see my mouse, we have explore community. So if you click explore community, you would see. So community is not like we have people online live, but you just like see everything every other person has built. So explore is just like everything. We can choose the type of things we want to see. So we can select mobile designs and we'll see every mobile design people have done. You can select web designs, we will see all the web designs people have done. We can also select wireframes, illustrations. So all of these things can help us in building our own project. So let me select mobile design now, so that we have an understanding of what I'm talking about. So this is everything related to mobile design that people have done in the community. So this one, they say, is a health survey app or website. So somebody made a mobile design for a health survey app. So let me look for something simple that we can use. So this one is a login and sign up toolkit. So somebody designed a straightforward login and sign up design on Figma. Let me see. So let me use, I saw one here. Let me use this one, furniture concept app. So let me click on that and open it. So this is a furniture concept application design. So somebody has opened up a simple done a simple design for furniture, furniture application. So if you now want to copy this thing or make use of any of the designs here, all you have to do is click duplicate. If you come over here, we'll see a duplicate button. Just click duplicate and it will open it up as a new project file on your Figma account. So basically it means you have duplicated that person's design and you now have it on your own system. So it's opening up. Just give it a minute. So while Figma has its web version, you can also download Figma on your desktop and use it offline. You don't always need to be online to make use of Figma, but I'm used to doing everything I do online because I work with a team. I'm always working with a team, so I have to do everything I'm doing online. So yeah, we've duplicated the screens, and as you can see, they have everything I explained. They have it in different frames and all. So let me just zoom in so you can see. So as you can see, this is the first one screen they have. So they just added this, basically added this icon, added this image, added the text, and as you see, as I'm selecting it, it's showing here. They added this, then added this image, added this button on this image. So we can also even decide to dismantle all of these things. You get, can decide to dismantle all of these things and do our own designs how we want it to be. So let's say I just decide that see, let me group all of this. I want this to be up. Sorry, I'm trying to select this inner stuff. So I just instead of where that thing is now, I want it to be here. Yeah, you can just start working on editing what these people have done already. I copy this, put it down here, copy this, select this and put it here. So as you can see, what I just did basically now is change the arrangement, the search was down, the explore was up. So yeah, that's basically what I did. Then we can also run this. Let me click present. Okay, so I guess these people have issues with their design. So they did, why it's showing like this is because they did not create their screens using actual design or device screens. That is why it's showing like this. But let's say we use an actual screen, and it's going to show as a screen. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but that is basically how you can go into the community and copy someone's work and use it as a benchmark to create your own. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Does anybody have any other question? Okay, so as I was saying, please let us go and create account on Figma, because that is what we'll be using for all our designs. Try and touch one or two things, scatter everywhere you get. You will not learn if you don't spoil anything, but well, it's Figma, you literally cannot spoil anything there. But yeah, as I'm saying, explore, touch everything that is inside there. You get, make sure you touch everything, make sure you just to see what everything does, you get, or how everything there works. At the end of the day, after doing everything, you can still delete everything. So basically that is how we learn. Most of all the tools I use, nobody taught me how to use them. Get, I just do touch. Most times sometimes I use YouTube also. So yeah, I'll just advise us to go try our hands on this Figma thing. Touch one or two things, try and create a simple screen. You can also go into the community, select someone's very simple design, and try and replicate it or something. So just basically to give us a hang of or idea of how you know Figma is generally. So I think that will be all for today, and I'll see all of us on Monday for our next class. So also let us know when the video for this class has been uploaded. Thank you very much for coming, and do have a good night. Good night.
Without the higher